Like he says,
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Tavern Geek podcast. This is a podcast about craft beer and sports, especially the NBA, because we're all basketball nerds. We do like other sports, but we are basketball nerds. We also like superheroes and geek culture and all that good stuff. So we are here and we are back for a long-awaited podcast, and we're welcoming a return of Byron. Byron's returned to us today, the Spicerack. So welcome back, Byron.
thanks for having me. I'm happy to be back. It's been a minute.
Yeah, life tends to deal pauses in between things lately. So Zach Hammer is here. What's up, Zach?
We're here building. I don't know how coherent I am, but I am in the building.
Awesome.
Nothing, just hanging in.
It's good to see and hear both of you today. We also have a special guest today. His name is Dr. Hank McCoy. He's been hanging out on my desk all night since I took a picture of him last night, and he's really awesome. And yes, I took him out of the package because I am breaking all my collector rules. I'm sorry. I like posing them now, and that's what I'm going to do. So, but pretty awesome. So we're going to talk some NBA stuff today. I might talk a little bit of beer stuff. I got a little bit of beer stuff on my mind. And then there is some geek stuff out there I'd like to shoot the shit about, especially the Spider-Man situation that's going on. I think it's just a crazy thing. And there's a lot of theories going on, and it's really, really exciting. But first of all, the land of basketball, it looks like that the Nets and the Lakers are pretty much just kind of hanging out with each other and taking each other's prospects to fill out their rosters. Byron just cued me in and let me know that DeAndre Jordan had a buyout from the Nets, and now he's with the Lakers. It looks like this is going to be who's going to show up on the Lakers and who's going to show up on the Nets season. So I think we kind of have figured out who might be in the finals, unless there's a huge upset, which is very possible. But all the old guys.
It happened last year.
Yeah. The big upsets. There was a lot of injuries involved last year between those two teams, though, so I will give them credit with that. So when you have a 35% James Harden and no Kyrie Irving, and still Kevin Durant is slaying people like it's nothing, that Nets and of course Spencer Dinwiddie was out with his injury. So if that team had been fully rostered, and if LaMarcus Aldridge hadn't had to retire, that Nets team probably would have been quite stacked for a finals run. So
they're the ones that got Okafor, right? And from the Pistons, aren't they the ones that ended up with Okafor?
Oh, they picked up Okafor from the. I didn't know they got it.
Didn't the Nets do that? I think that's because the Pistons bought out Jordan, and then that's how the Lakers got him. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I guess I could be wrong, but I thought that's what I read yesterday.
Okay, so
and they got the two centers off of the Pistons. You have the Okafor, who came from New Orleans, and then he's there with I can't say his last name. It starts with a D. I think he may have been a rookie last year. But so now they're like talking about how they're stacking up their bench, so they have like backups.
Yeah, I got it pulled up right here. then it says that the Nets trade DeAndre Jordan to the Pistons, who bought him out so he could go sign with the Lakers. But the Nets received Jaleel Okafor, which he's back with the Nets. He played with them before, and Sequoia Dumboya. I can't say his name right, but they're both decent big men. They're both good rebounders. That's big when you have guys like James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant who like to fire
They
the
had
rock.
so many picks in that too. Like look at all the picks. There's like I think it was 4 or 5 picks. Somebody commented below the thing I was reading. They're like, now they won't be able to pick for like the next 10 years or something. Obviously, it won't be that bad, but
Who, the Nets?
yeah, because I think they gave up. I'm pretty sure it was 4 picks that they did with that. I don't know. Maybe that wasn't right. Anyway, yeah, the Nets are looking pretty saucy.
Wow. Yeah. Here it is. The Nets have acquired forward Sequoia Dumboya, I hope I said that right, and center Jahlil Okafor from the Detroit Pistons in exchange for center DeAndre Jordan. Second-round draft picks in 2022, 2024, 2025, and 2027, and cash. Damn, son.
I told you. Pistons like stacked up, man.
And if you're
I
the
don't know,
Pistons,
the Nets look good, but
if you're the Pistons, that's awesome.
sorry,
Like,
I don't mean to.
no, you're fine.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna take a hot take on this, and I don't like this long term for the Nets at all. They basically, like, if they don't win everything this year, they're basically their whole franchise is a train wreck going forward.
Yeah, they have.
Injury prone too.
It's a lot of older players. I really
Yeah.
think the Lakers are getting better contracts and negotiations out of these deals.
Yeah, I agree. The Lakers really, the way they structured their team with the veterans that they picked up, these are guys that have fought back from injuries and have reconditioned their bodies and learned how to play with them, like Howard and Anthony. And you couldn't have paired some of the better players with LeBron. These are guys that LeBron has played with and knows how to play with, especially Dwight Howard and Carmelo Anthony. And I mean, we've been wanting to see LeBron and Carmelo Anthony team up since, I don't know, man, since when Carmelo wanted to leave Denver, people wanted to see them two team up. So I know it's later in their careers, but this is going to be an entertaining thing. Plus, I mean, they got Russ too, which is, you know, quite a feat. So, but yeah, Byron, like the Lakers, I think I agree with you. I think they make good choices, and picking up DeAndre Jordan too now and throwing him in there with Dwight Howard and Marc Gasol, you got a lot of wisdom and basketball IQ there, you know, underneath the basket. You know, and if they decide to run that small ball offense, which they're talking about, where they put AD at the center, you know, if they run that, you know, on that like third to fourth quarter spread, you know, AD at the center, and you got Russ and Taylor Horton Tucker and Malik Monk at the 2 and the 3, and then they said they were talking about throwing what's his name they picked up. Oh, Carmelo, my bad. And then Carmelo in there. So you've got that's a fast team, you know, and then you bring LeBron and Howard off the bench there for the end of the game. You got that bulky defense and rebounding skill of Dwight Howard, and he could still catch lobs too. I mean, he still can catch lobs. So man, they're kind of deep with their vets. But I mean, what the Nets just did, grabbing those players from the Pistons who are on small contracts to fill out the roster spot. They're both good rebounders. Of course, they'll be on the bench, you know, because they also just signed Paul Millsap, who his basketball IQ is great. I mean, he's a good player. He's not what he was, and then bringing back LaMarcus Aldridge, who's dealing with health issues, that's kind of a gamble. But they're all on the veterans minimum. And then of course Blake is there, who has injury problems, and Kyrie has injury problems. So yeah, I agree with you, Byron. The ratio there is definitely in the Lakers' favor.
The thing is like I think the raw talent from like age perspective probably falls in favor of the Nets. But again, I don't like how they're setting their organization up going forward. And I kind of wonder if you're a Nets fan, if you really like it. Like, yeah, you want to win a title. Everybody wants to win a title. But you're looking at, if you don't win a title this year, your chances of winning a title going forward are pretty slim. And you also still got to fight through that Bucks team that is mostly intact.
Yeah, I think they only lost one player?
PJ Tucker.
Oh, they lost Bryn Forbes and PJ Tucker. But
Yeah, he went to the Heat.
Yeah, that was a good pickup for the Heat, but I wished he would have stayed in Milwaukee. I loved how he played with Milwaukee. I know I had to.
I'm sure that they're pick up somebody who can be like that shooter defender. You know, there's several of those guys out there, and during trade deadlines, you can usually find one on the market or in the buyout.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, especially to the team that just won. You know, everybody wants to go. So, you put the notice out, somebody's coming. It does suck that PJ left, though. I like what he brought to the team. I think that there were a lot of times that his bulldog mentality really got them through some of the tough times where they could have gotten down. But him with the Heat, that'll be fun to see with him and Butler playing and stuff like that. But
that's a good combination there with Kyle Lowry, him and Butler, because they're all bulldoggy. They're dogs, all three of them. Mm-hmm. And when you put together players like that who can spread the floor, who can make plays at the same time, all three of them can shoot decently. And, they can hit big game shots outside Tucker. I know Lowry and Butler, both of them can hit the big shot if they need them to. That's pretty big for the Miami Heat. I thought that the Heat would have done a little bit better. Like, I expected them to go after, like, really, really make that campaign for DeMar DeRozan. I thought that he would have fit into that scheme, especially reuniting with his buddy Kyle Lowry. But I thought he would have fit into their team really well. And that would have been kind of neat. But they gave all that money to Duncan Robinson, so I guess we're looking at like a Lowry, Robinson, Butler, Tucker, and Bam starting lineup, which looks good on paper. I mean, you've got shooting and defense. And anymore, you don't need that size at the four. You don't need a super big guy to run the four. So the Heat still can be a threat. But yeah, you've got this revamped Nets team, and of course the Bucks. And I think Giannis is high on winning, and he's got a killer mentality. It's going to be hard to beat the Bucks. Period.
Mm-hmm.
I think another part that is probably getting overlooked a lot is the coaching collapse in Brooklyn too, and they basically didn't change that staff at all. I kind of worry about that as far as like game planning and making sure the work is put in. Yeah, these guys are talented, but you've already had Kyrie and Durant say, "Oh, coach isn't important," and we saw last year with a lot of the rotation decisions and who the play draws that a lot of times it just kind of looked like ISO ball over and over, and everybody kind of knew what was coming.
Yeah. And that's kind of also a fault there with D'Antoni and Nash. I mean, this was Nash's first year as a head coach. And I know he's been in the system in Golden State was in that system for a long time in player development in different areas, executive areas, but you never saw him on the bench with Kerr coaching. So that's why it's kind of weird for me seeing him as a head coach. Of course, D'Antoni has coached plenty of great teams and all that, but he is a 7 seconds or less here you go, Harden, type of guy. So, yeah,
I mean, that showed in the finals with KD when you end up taking all that on yourself, and just like you're saying with the ISO ball, when you know what to look for,
Well, I guess the Nets have
We'll
one
see.
advantage. They don't have Ben Simmons to worry about not shooting a wide open dunk.
wide open. Dude, that's true.
Through that.
Dude,
True.
as a 76ers fan, I stand by my statement I made years ago. I'm going to let them put me in my grave so they can let me down one more time.
I hope it gets better.
But he makes so many threes in those summer league games, man. Like, there's video proof. They just don't show you the 100 that he missed before he got them.
It must be psychological. He must, when he gets around the crowd. I mean, it's a different animal, I guess, when you're out there in front of thousands of people versus being in a gym with people that you played ball with your whole life. I think it's a different animal. And Simmons is kind of like an introvert. Like, he's not flashy. He does the dirty work. This is a good talking point here, because Simmons has been in the news so much about where's he going to get traded, what's going on, are they going to trade him, do you trade him, can he shoot, this and that. And yeah, if you're going to be the number 2 guy on the team, you have to be able to make a big shot, and you've got to be able to shoot. If not, you're going to have to take yourself down to a number 3 or a number 4 spot on a team with the other skills. And I'm not knocking it. He's the second best defender in the league. I think he was the best defender in the league last season, honestly. And he grabs boards like it's nobody's business. He passes. I mean, his assists, his ability to play make is elite. It's just the shooting. So I just think he's not paired with the right people. And I really think that the Sixers should approach the Timberwolves and be like, hey, look, give us D'Angelo Russell, give us Malik Beasley, maybe even take, that Vanderbilt kid off of him. He's decent. And give them Ben Simmons and swap some picks or money or whatever. Because Russell can facilitate a little bit. He's not perfect, but I think he and Joel Embiid would mesh well. And I think Karl Anthony Towns and Ben Simmons would be a monster duo, especially with Anthony Edwards coming up in Minnesota. And I think that would be a really good trade. But outside of that, there's really no other trade that's going to happen for Ben Simmons.
Because they want too much and nobody else. I mean, you're giving away a quarter of a team. In reality, is what they want, Even if it's picks. Even if you're giving away first-round picks next year, that's still, Anthony Edwards. I don't know. I think that, honestly, what if instead of trading him, they just revamped the idea and said, just like you were saying, he's awesome at getting boards. He can facilitate. What if you switch that to him being the 4? So he could still get boards and assists. He doesn't have to feel the pressure of hitting the 3 ball. He's got Embiid to trail behind and hit a 3 if they need. He can move down and guard, Maybe it's just a mentality thing. Like, maybe that would get out of his head, and then next thing you know, he's trailing behind, hitting, 2 or 3 threes a game, because it's not, I don't know. I think when you're in that guard position, there's so much pressure that's put on the 3 ball, which, there should be, in my opinion. You shouldn't be guard if you can't shoot threes consistently, because if you can't do it, the threat of you pulling people out to defend you is not there, and you see it. They're like, shoot it, dude, go ahead. And he doesn't. I mean, maybe they're just living there in his head, and that's the whole issue. But if you move to the 4, I don't know how that would work out at this point as who they'd have to pick up or move or whatever. But I don't know, because the dude's talented. I hate that it seems like everybody says he sucks, and it's not that. I mean, he's a phenomenal ball player. Where the coach was saying that he doesn't have to score to do things for the team. That's true. So move him. to the 4 or even the 3. Like, I don't know. I was just thinking about that the other day. He gets so much flack. I'm just ready to see him bounce back, you know.
Oh, I mean, I did definitely agree. Ben Simmons is a talented ball player, but you can tell, and like I say, as a Sixers fan, you know, I invest more time into watching their games. The biggest thing that I see with him is he doesn't look like he wants to shoot, and so during the regular season, yeah, that's not a problem. It's that you're banking on him in the playoffs, and in the playoffs, things ramp it up, and people are like, all right, we'll guard everybody else. You shoot, and you see what happens. That's the issue that as a Sixers fan, I love Ben Simmons. I don't doubt his talent. I don't doubt his contribution. But if you're gonna build a team to win a title, anytime he's on the floor, any coach that's going to game plan is going to say, okay, we're going to guard everybody else, make him do something. And he's shown, even with the dunk, that's where I really kind of like had to draw my line. It's like he had a wide open dunk underneath in a big game, and he didn't take it. Nobody was there. And he was, you saw it in his face. I don't want this opportunity. I don't want this shot. Somebody else take it. And everybody else on the floor on the other team ate that up and said, okay, you don't want a wide open dunk? We'll just give you wide open everything.
Yeah.
And that's just, they put all the pressure on Embiid because they're like, Ben Simmons, you're going to beat us. And I don't know what it's going to take. I think he's capable. I just don't know what it's going to take for that to come to fruition, for him to be like, okay, I want this shot.
Well,
Especially a dunk.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I mean, you're
that's
wide
a
open.
layup. That's even easier than layup, you know? Crazy.
I mean, anybody would have took a wide open dunk. I mean, even Boban would have jammed that. But, you know, then sit
He
down.
wouldn't even had to jump.
But let's trade Ben for Boban.
Yeah. Like I say, I definitely, you know, I'm not one of those haters. You know, I've seen Ben Simmons play amazing ball. Like Zach says, in summer league, he kills it. I don't know if it's the pressure of the crowd. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's his confidence in the playoffs, but he honestly looks like in the playoffs, he doesn't want the basketball. He wants to rebound and he wants to pass, but he doesn't want the shot. And it blows my mind because it's not like he doesn't have one. Yeah, it's not as good, but we've seen with Giannis, his three ball is not great. Let's be real. Giannis's three ball is not great, but he's not afraid of it. He's not afraid of it. He'll say, okay, you're going to leave me open. I'm going to take my shot. And it might not go in, but I'm going to take it. And you have to respect that I'm going to take it.
And he proved that in the finals against the Suns when the Suns were, you know, forcing them out. He started firing jumpers and firing threes and hitting them because he said, I'm going to win. And when you get that type of mentality, no one could stop you. You know, that's that Jordan Kobe mentality. You know, you're just, regardless of whether you're good at shooting threes or not. Michael Jordan wasn't that great, you know, wasn't known to shoot threes. And then they kept forcing him out to the 3-point line against the Blazers. And what was that 92 or 93? And what did he do? He hit like 6 threes in game 4. It was like, they keep leaving me open.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, yeah. Everybody knows that you're not known for your shooting, and that's fine. But in the playoff situations, in the regular season, you got to start taking those shots and letting people know that you want it if you're going to be an elite player, or he's just like an overpaid role player. He's a discount Draymond Green.
Yeah. I mean, Draymond can sink a shot when you need him to. He's not perfect at it, but he will shoot. So, yeah, you're right. It's like taking everything Draymond Green does and just amplifying everything but shooting.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It becomes a budget Draymond, which, you know, is good. It's like I say, Draymond can do a lot of things, but if you can't have the confidence in yourself, which I think is a part of the problem with Simmons, is that he doesn't have the confidence in himself to take that shot. And I don't know what kind of work he's got to put in or what kind of coaching staff you got to put around him for him to have that confidence to take those shots. At least take them. Yeah, you might not make them, but you're not even taking the shots at this point. So it's more than just the ability now. It's more of the mentality.
Well, Byron, since you're a Sixers fan, and if the Sixers go the route of trading Ben Simmons, where do you think he should land, and what do you think they should get back for him?
I definitely don't think they're going to get what they want. I mean, it's like Zach said, they're basically asking for a quarter of your team for him, and that's just not going to happen, because I'm sure the coaching staffs and general managers can see a lot more than we do, and nobody's even coming to the table for what they ask. Like, people are showing interest because the guy's talented, but they probably see even more than we do, and a bigger perspective in the business side. It's like, is this guy going to draw in the numbers we want, let alone set us up to win a title? And obviously these teams say he's not worth that. So I do think they have too many big guys. If you're going to move Simmons, you need a conventional point guard of some sort, like a Russell or something. But I don't know that you can move him with the way things are, and I don't think that they're going to get near the value they want. So sort of a status quo. I think the Sixers are overstacked in bigs, and if they do move him, they need a conventional guard, and they might have to take less as the season goes on. His value is probably not going to go up.
I mean, there's not a lot of point guards right now that are going to be available outside Damian Lillard. They talk about Damian Lillard. And
don't you do it. Stop it.
I talk about Dame and CJ being broke up there in Portland and SWAT, and sending those guys off to kind of rebuild their team again. But then, that actually rumors have kind of faded, and it seems that Dame and CJ are happy about what's going on. So, but yeah, I mean, there's so much going on right now, in this off season, and I'm gonna go to you guys real quick, kind of closing out here. Where do you guys think? Number one, and we got the Lakers and we got the Nets. I want to know where you guys think the Lakers and the Nets are going to finish. I want to know who is the team in the West that is going to be the biggest one to watch, and in the East, who's going to be the one that's just going to surprise the hell out of everybody. What do you guys think?
You can go, Byron.
So I think the Lakers are probably going to be in your top two spots. I don't know how their load management is going to go. And obviously when you're talking that amount of age, injuries and fatigue are obviously going to play a role, and how their coaching staff manages those workloads is going to be important. I still think Phoenix is a force to be reckoned with. A lot of that team is still intact. I think they're going to be better than people think. I think they're going to continue to make smart moves there. They look like, as an organization, they're heading in the right direction. They're not overpaying for players. They're not, trying to do anything crazy. They've seen the success, and so I think Phoenix is the team to watch in the West again. I know it kind of seems cliche since they made it to the finals last year, but I don't think they lost enough to really be counted out like some people think. And Chris Paul is learning to be that big time leader that we've always known he could be. And he's getting the most out of a lot of those players, and they're a year into it now. And Booker is motivated. So I think you keep those two together, and they're in for a lot of success. In the East, I think your Nets are probably going to be your 1 seed. I think the Bucks are still, like I say, intact and still going to give them a hard time. But I wonder about the Nets mentality against teams that are kind of gatekeeper long term. Somebody like the Indiana Pacers can kind of surprise them on a defensive front, as far as like, playing the kind of ball is like, okay, we're going to defend you hard. You're going to have to outscore us. And yeah, they might, but I'm not sure who you're going to lean on to be that, who's taking this high pressure shot. Yeah, it looks like Durant, but you're also not seeing a whole lot of those big time guys all playing together healthy. So the Nets are probably going to be your 1 seed during the regular season, just from a pure talent perspective, but I'm nervous about them in the playoffs for multiple teams.
Is it my turn now?
Yeah, man.
I agree. I mean, I think that the Lakers are gonna be up there in the West again. Longevity, maybe people get hurt, maybe they don't. I think that a lot of that relies on how well they do. I mean, the Suns are gonna be there, obviously, just for like, maybe I can speak it into fruition. Like, we'll just go ahead and say like the Blazers are going to be fighting there too. And then we'll see. Maybe I can go back to this video and be like, I told you. But then in the East is the one that I'm honestly excited about, because you have people with like the team that I think is going to be the one to watch for is the Bulls. I got a cat on my face now.
Awesome.
Because you have young talent, they're all fast, they're all like, I mean, I feel like they want it. You added DeRozan, who wants it. There's even talk of him coming off the bench and being their sixth man, which if he's okay with that, that even adds more force to what they're going to bring. But, you're going to have the Nets up there. Again, I think that one would rely on like holding the reins. Who's going to be that guy? Who is their go-to? If they're looking for somebody to take the last shot, which one does it? Because one of them has to do it and tell the other guys, I'm going to be the one to do it. Or when it comes down to it, you're going to have three people being like, no, man, you can take it, But, I mean, obviously Giannis wants it, so the Bucks are going to be there. I think we're going to see equal competition in the East and West this year. I don't think it's going to be like it was, where one side's in the West, they're fighting through 12 seeds. I think the East is going to be doing that too. You're going to have a lot of teams that are going to have good records going in. And at the end of the year, it's going to be a fight. I think it's going to be close.
Heck yeah. That's too, Phoenix definitely, I think that they rounded out their roster really well. JaVale McGee's a huge add. That's where they lacked help, was with Ayton falling apart in the middle there versus the Bucks. And McGee's not going to – he's a defensive monster. And then, man, the Bulls, they're stacked. That's a stacked team of guys that are good, and they're guys we want to see play well, like Lonzo and DeRozan, like especially Lonzo. This is his time to shine with the Bulls. Like, this is a really good team for him to be with. And that's going to be awesome. That's going to just be awesome to see how all that comes into fruition. But yeah, the NBA right now, crazy Lakers, Nets thing going on. The Clippers are just kind of being forgotten. Oh, they have Kawhi, and they picked up Eric Bledsoe.
They really are.
But we forget about them, and then Dallas is hanging out down there with Luka. You never know what's going to happen with that dude. He could come out next year and be MVP. Like, I mean, it's so spread out. But it's gonna be wild. And on that note, end our NBA set and take a little break, and then we're going to come back and talk a little geek crap and all that. But yeah, like it's crazy, man. I'm really kind of like buzzed up about the way the Lakers and the Nets have grabbed these players all of a sudden, like, and then Aldridge just pops up, Millsap just popped up on the Nets, and then they grab DeAndre Jordan, and then it's just kind of like, is there going to be another move? I mean, these two teams are doing this. Are the, who else is going to respond? Are the Sixers going to respond with a deal, or the Clippers? Are these guys going to try to bulk their teams up a little bit? So I guess we'll see on the second half, when it gets going. So we'll be back right after this.